Good day again, everyone. This is the continuation of my report on the P process. So we will continue our discussion on uh, step number three, create and test. So as I have mentioned, in this step, we will need to design the program's communication tools. It's like, for example, videos, posters, and even interactive activities. So in this step, we will need, of course, to combine art and science. No, it's really uh, uh, interesting because the creative and artistic vision are really needed to move audiences and inspire them to change. So but before we start to create, we need to follow uh, this principle on the left part. No, first is to create or assemble our creative team that will compose designers, writers, artists, social media handlers, managers, producers, etc. That basically tailored to the requirements of our project. So once we have our creative team, we need to plan our design workshop. No, so on the design workshop, we always make sure that our intended audiences and key stakeholders, or even the member of the technical panel or technical members, are being consulted, or uh, they are represented during the planning of designing workshop. Why this is important? Basically, this is a collaborative approach that will ensure that each of us, from our stakeholders, from our representative of our intended audience, and our creative team, will benefit from insights from all of them. So afterward, we will develop a preliminary concepts and materials for audience pretesting. So subsequently, conduct testing with the intended audience and the decision makers once we create a concepts. So following the testing phase, we need to share the outcomes with the creative team and stakeholders. We really need to engage in a participatory process, no, to collectively agree on the necessary revisions. That is crucial because the revisions are really needed to be done to make adjustment and make our materials better. So this is the part where we reassess the materials to ensure that the revisions are really effectively address and identify issue. And of course, once we are done on retesting the materials, we will finally produce the final materials for distribution. So the output of step three is basically a package of completed materials that are ready for distribution. So this package includes all the communication products developed during the planning process, such as print materials, videos, posters, and any other communication materials. Next step, mobilize and monitor. So in this stage, we will carry out your program and keep track of how it's going. So you and your team will put the plan from step two, or will materialize the plan from step two into action by basically distributing the um, products and run those activities. So we really need to assign team members that will keep or monitor to ensure that distribution and implementation goes smoothly. Uh, we also need to in terms of mobilization, we also need to make sure everyone knows that what they are doing, or what they're expected to do, even if it entails training of field workers or other project staff or workers. We really need to uh, to invest on that, because at the end of the day, when a specific person do not participate or do not deliver, our project is really in jeopardy. So after also, in continuity, uh, we need, of course, to keep all our partners updated on how things are going. So that's really the part. So that's really the highlights of monitoring. No, making sure that our activities are occurring as planned. The result of step number four is basically a cohesive set of program activities which may include any modification plan suggested by the monitoring process. So basically, this means that after monitoring the progress of any program, any necessary adjustments are incorporated into the ongoing activities to ensure that they remain effective and align with the program's goals. Last step. In this step, evaluate and evolve. We will conduct activities to determine how well your program achieved its objectives and identify any unintended consequences. So you want to know why your program was or was not effective and whether or not the program had its intended effects on the knowledge or attitudes behavior of our intended audiences. So we will also use the lessons learned to influence future programming funding allocations. No, so how do we do that again? First, we need to measure the outcomes and assess its impact, most likely through surveys or any other evaluation techniques. After that, we need to disseminate or share the result with donors, even if it's uh, really not positive or the results are mixed. So once we do all that on the stage of evaluation, the next step is to look ahead. Our final report will outline future opportunities, ways to apply lessons learned, resolutions, and actions taken, and areas requiring, or perhaps areas requiring following up, and strategies for sailing or for scaling up successful. So basically, the output of step number five, evaluate and evolve, is the dissemination of events or series of events or even publications and a discussion for the next steps of the campaign. So we are done on the five steps of the P process. But before we conclude this report, let me present you some uh, some really essential reminders when we design an SBCC program. So first, don't let your current situation limit your vision. So second, when developing your shared vision, it is really more important than the vision itself. We really need to prioritize the collaboration over the specific details. For example, focus on involving diverse stakeholders such as community leaders and healthcare professionals in crafting a vision that aligns with everyone's goals and uh, values. Why? Because at the end of the day, when we implement our programs, our communication plan, social mobilization is really a key part. That's why we really need to prioritize the shared vision rather than the vision itself. Because sometimes our vision, it's our objectives, our specific vision really sometimes do not complement with the others. So if we really have to push for a specific campaign, we need to meet halfway. That's why it's really need to prioritize this shared vision. Next, pull out your formative research to work. So this means that we need to find or we need to tailor the program and materials to address the identified issues for our audience preferences. And uh, last on this slide is uh, we need to understand that communication is a process and not just a product because is the only time that we will appreciate the role of pretesting, monitoring, because it means that the development of communication is also ongoing. Next, uh, uh, next reminders. We also need to make sure that we create a monitoring and evaluation plan, pay special attention as we transition from one step to another, look beyond the numbers to find the word so what in monitoring data, and focus demand sacrifice. And last, if we really want professional quality for our communication project or plan, we really need hire professionals. So, to wrap up, let's recap the 5 steps of the P process. Number one, to inquire, know more about our problem and intended audiences, design the strategy. Third is to create and test. Fourth is to mobilize and monitor. And last, the fifth is evaluate and evolve. So this concludes my presentation on the pre-process. For the references I have used, please refer to the please you can refer on the slides. Thank you everyone.